This tutorial is brought to you by pm-prep35.com. We are an online PMP training website. Do visit pm-prep35.com for a lot of free mock exams and chapter and tests. In this session, I'm going to cover define activities process. This process is part of project time management knowledge area and it falls in the planning process group. Define activities deals with coming up with the activity list as well as the milestone list for the project. So once you develop the work package is relevant to the scope, the work package is nothing but the lowest level in the WBS. You have the phases at the second level, then you have sometimes the deliverables, and then you break that down to the work package level, which is at the lowest level of the WBS. So you take these work packages and you are now in the process of allocating it to your team. So if the team is working with you, you normally sit down with them and break down that into activities. But if you are outsourcing the work, then you provide this work package as such to the contractor and then they break down into activities. But then the activity list helps you manage things in better level on a day-to-day basis. That's where you come up with the activity list. So as already discussed in case of define scope process, the define scope process has a decomposition done from the phase or the deliverable level to the work package level. Again, in this process, from the work package level, you decompose your components to the activity level. So there is decomposition involved here also. In most of the projects that we do on a day-to-day basis, we normally do the define activities as well as the define scope or create WBS process as one single step, because when you sit with the team, you have a scope statement initially, then you sit with the team and you come up with the work packages, and if the team is going to do the activities also, then you break down each of the work packages to activity level. So most of the projects, the create WBS and define scope, create WBS, all that, even though it falls in scope management knowledge area, and this particular process of defining the activity list, although it falls in the time management knowledge area, these are all overlapping and they tend to be done as one single process as part of creating the schedule. So when the schedule as such uses the activity list, but in case of the PMBOK, it is broken down in terms that creation of activities is broken down as a separate process. So that's why you have the define activities here as a separate process. Although again, these can be done as one single process, creation of WBS, then going ahead and creating an activity list, and then networking these together into a network diagram, and then determining the durations, resource requirements, and then putting that in a schedule which is acceptable to all the stakeholders. Is all mostly done as one single process. But now going by the PMBOK, the define activities process just deals with creation of the activity list from the work package. So the work package is part of WBS, and the WBS as such is part of the scope baseline. The scope baseline has three components to it. One is the scope statement, then there is the WBS, then there is the WBS dictionary. In this particular process, you will create the activity list from your WBS. So scope baseline is one of the inputs. Then like any other process, you have the plan as the guiding force or telling what to do, which has already been initially planned by the manager, project manager. So it's a key input. So that's where your schedule management plan is an input to create your activity list, because it tells how do you break down things, or any tools and techniques, any methodologies that is commonly used. You have done some analysis as part of creating your schedule management plan, so you look up to that and then you go ahead with your creation of the activity list. So these are two important requirements. Then obviously, because this part of when you're, because you're transitioning to a new knowledge area, so you have enterprise environmental factors as one of the inputs. Then you have organizational process assets. So organizational process assets deals with picking up any templates that you might have used successfully in previous projects, while enterprise environmental factors provides you any sort of you might want to look at some of the external factors that might affect the project, and you might want to factor that as part of your defining your activity list. It might be anything related to compliance, laws and all that, so you might want to factor that in your activity list while you come up with the activity list. So now the tools and techniques, as we have already discussed, decomposition is one of the important technique. Then there is rolling wave planning. The rolling wave planning is one type of progressive elaboration which we already discussed when we talked about create WBS. You leave some of the components within the WBS at a higher level so that you can decompose it at a later stage when you get a better clarity, while the activities related to current work period are decomposed to a more detailed level because you have a lot more visibility talking to the customer. So that's one of the techniques that's used in this process. Ideally, so you can take it this way, wherein when you're creating a WBS, which is a hierarchical structure, as well as when you're coming up with the activity list, wherein you're breaking down things, progressive elaboration or rolling wave planning plays a vital role. So with that an idea about the whole process, let's quickly walk through the important points here. The define activities process is concerned with breaking down the work into list of activities. So the create WBS process is more concerned about breaking down the phases or the deliverables to the work package level, but then again, now when you take the work package, it might itself become deliverables to somebody else, or to the team, to another organization unit, or to the contractor. So the deliverable terminology, you need to look at it at what point somebody is explaining. So that's where the create WBS breaks down your phases or deliverables for the project into the work package level, but then your define activities process takes those work packages and breaks it down to the activity level. So the activity is useful to see progress on a day-to-day basis. It's something that a team member has come up, I need to do these activities on so and so date, so he's more comfortable with it, and you can track that on a daily basis, finding out what he tells you a planned date, and then you now on a day-to-day basis can talk to him and get the actuals and fill the activity list, or when you put it in the schedule as part of your schedule against that activity list on a day-to-day basis. For each activity you can enter your actuals, because while putting down the schedule you have the planned dates already put in there in the schedule. So most of the times define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity resources, and estimate activity duration, estimate activity resources, estimate activity duration processes are done as part of develop schedule process. So you have estimate activity process, and then you have estimate activity durations. So these are two different processes, because the first one deals with the resource requirement for an activity, the next one deals with what is the duration. Although again you do all this as part of software like Microsoft Project Plan. If you write down your activities there, it would automatically build your diagrams and all that. But then in case of PMBOK, these are all dealt as separate separate processes, although they have a lot of overlap on a day-to-day basis when you deal with projects. In smaller projects, create WBS, define activities process are done as overlapping activities. Project team is involved in creating the activity list because they are the ones who would be working on the activity, so it's better to get them involved in an early stage, because if as a manager or somebody who is not going to do it, you create the activity list, there's going to be a lot of changes when the team gets in, because they're going to add their inputs. It's better to get the team involved right in the early stages. So that's why team participation in creating the activity list is really important. So the inputs for this process: schedule management plan. It has the plan as to how to come up with the activity list, what all should be included, what tools you would use, what software would you use, like project Microsoft project plan or anything that's a standard in the company. So that will all be specified in the schedule management plan. Scope baseline. The scope baseline is an important input, basically because you have the WBS, then you have the scope statement. Obviously the WBS dictionary has descriptive information about each of the items in the WBS, so that way these are taken care. Then you have enterprise environmental factors, which accounts for external factors that can affect the project, and you have to factor in when you come up with your activity list. Then you have organizational process assets, which has templates, specific templates that you are following for this particular project, for this particular client. Expert judgment is used. Expert judgment here is an technique, basically because the team is going to get involved. They are going to put in their comments, or they are going to tell things which are useful to come up with a viable activity list. Then you have decomposition. The decomposition is breaking down of work packages to the activity level. So that's one important technique used here. Role wave planning. Role wave planning is just breaking down works that are related to the next 1 or 2 weeks work period. You break them down sitting with the team, so that way you don't spend too much time on planning, and also you can keep doing your work. So that's where role wave planning is an important technique used here. The output of this process is activity list, which is a list of activities for the project. So each work package you take and you break down, and you have the activity list which the team should follow on a day-to-day basis. Then you have activity attributes, because the activity list is it doesn't have much information about what are the other details related to the activity. You pull out the activity attributes similar to a WBS dictionary. You pull out the activity attributes to a separate document, and you keep adding information, like for example, for this particular activity it would be better to have a resource with so and so characteristics, or to so and so capability, so that you use in your next process, like the when you come up with the activity resource requirement or activity duration estimates. So that's any lead or lag. Lead or lag is anything like this work or this activity needs a cooling off period of so and so time, so you can't start this unless you have 2 days break before this, and things like that. So those things you add into the activity attributes. It is more like a detailed documentation about each and every activity, which you can go and look up, while your activity list is seen to be as something which has just the activity identifier and your activity name. Then there is the milestone list. The milestone list is something normally activities have a duration attached to it, but the milestone list just does not have a duration, or it is zero duration attached to it. Mainly you add milestone list, basically the project manager can easily involve some milestones of his own for better tracking. For example, on a weekly basis I can involve certain milestones which is not actually part of the project mandate, but as a project manager I want to so that I don't get too much involved in the technical aspects, I just make sure certain things are reached. So that's where the milestone list is really important. It might be anything like I give work to the team member, then after 1 week I add a milestone like testing of so and so module. So I don't need to get involved on every day of that week to see where is, but then at the end of 1 week I can go and test, and I can use this report to see whether that work has been done. So that's where milestone list can be mandated by the project manager, or it can come from the external customer as part of the requirements. So those are included as part of the activity list. Let's quickly walk through a format of activity list that I randomly picked up. So the activity list, here is one. The activity list has an activity identifier number for each activity name. Then it has description of work. You can pull this out to a activity attributes document, but then it's good to have less information as much as possible in the activity list. Then you have responsibility, who is assigned to do this activity. So you see here specific activity list which is more related about to moving a workstation from location A to location B. So this can be outsourced to somebody who's doing all this moving of computers from one place to another. So you break down those activities. So complete preparation of work area. So you dismantle all the connections from the computer, then you pack that into a box, then you get ready all the connections in the target location, and you move the computer. So that's the work that is getting done. These are broken down into activities, and that's what this activity list is all about. We can quickly look at how an activity looks, but then if you see here, the activity list is part of the schedule. So these are all activities part of this particular category, which ideally will be your work package. So you have as you go on, you will fill these. This becomes your actual schedule. But then this side of it, just look at it. This is what is your activity list. Ideally, these will be overlapping process. As I said, you have your schedule. This is more of a schedule wherein you will fill your planned and actuals. But then look at this part alone, which is the activity list that we are talking about. You can look at the detail, or the detail it gets into, information about all this. This one is talking about complaints with laws about for something specific to this particular project. So information about all government licenses. So this will be a documentation. This is one activity. Then you have information about all pending questions. So this will be some sort of a documentation again. So these things, this is a level of detail that an activity can get in. We'll quickly look up another activity list. So this activity list also has the same structure. You have the inception as one of the phase. Then within that you have defining the vision and background of your project. Then you have identifying business drivers that lead the project and define the strategic direction. So these are all probably you'll do it as part of some documentation. So that's why it's an activity which would be probably done by a team member. Developing the business case that defines the problem or need to be addressed by the project and the reasons for project. So that's one activity. Creating a list of project goals and objectives. So I think you can break it down even further. Instead of saying inception activities, you can say probably some sort of documentation, business case documentation, and then you can write these activities. That will give you better structure to the WBS as well as the activity list. So with that idea, I think this process is over. You can visit pm-prep35.com to look at other processes in this particular knowledge area and do access our chapter tests and mock exams. Thank you.